game's opening three. After that, all Nuggets. The Warriors come home 1-5 on the road and now with a 5-5 record after starting 4-1. Hey everybody, welcome to Toyota Warriors Postgame Live with Rod Brooks and Festus Ezeli. I'm Kareth Burke. We knew the Warriors would have, when they're playing without Steph Curry, things just change. They're also facing a very good Denver Nuggets team, but the Warriors had their plans tonight. Limit the turnovers, limit the fouling, see what you can do in those non-Jokic minutes. This one was tough. It looked like Draymond was ready to go. Let's start with him. Let's start on a positive with Draymond.
Well, that's the NBA Cup, Kareth. Yes, there's a bright lights. No Steph Curry. So Draymond, the veteran, comes into the game. He tries to impersonate Steph Curry. 5 threes for Dre, 5 for 10 from the three-point line. What? Bonte usually has that stat for, how many threes, what the Warriors record is when Draymond hits 2 threes in a game, 4 threes, 5 threes, whatever that is. I think this is a game where Draymond came in trying to make his impact felt. But the problem is, they needed other guys on the starting roster to really come into the game, and they didn't really have that scoring punch from the starters. Got to give a lot of credit to the bench. They came in trying to make it a run in the first half, but just too much Jokic, too much Jamal Murray, too much Aaron Gordon. Just too much Denver Nuggets.
Too many turnovers early for the Warriors in this game. And as you mentioned, just too much good play from the Denver Nuggets. Not enough resistance from the Warriors defensively. That's been a common theme this year. And we talked about this in pregame. You were going to have to get something from the young guys. And it just simply wasn't enough from the young guys today, particularly Brandon Podziemski. He only had 2 points in 14 first half minutes, finished with 7 overall. Kuminga, his first points didn't come until 7 minutes in the third. He was at 6 points on 3 of 10 shooting, and Moses Moody. His first points didn't come until early in the fourth quarter, and he only had 2 points, 0 for 6 from the three-point line. Even if you have Steph, you put up those numbers from those guys, it's going to be a tough night for you. Without Steph, going up against Denver on the road, that's problematic to the nth degree.
You're right. It started tough. The Warriors already in a hole in the first quarter. And then at halftime, the starters as a collective unit had 18 points. So just not the firepower going. No. Now, the second quarter, one of the main storylines coming into this game was the non-Jokic minutes. When he sat down, the Warriors made a valiant effort. They won on an 11-0 run. It was just a 1-point game. Then the Nuggets called timeouts, and then they stepped on the gas. Rod, what were you thinking watching the swing of emotion in the second quarter?
Well, I thought it started late in the first quarter when Quentin Post, Pat Spencer, and Trace Jackson Davis got in with about 5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. We were talking about this, Festus. You could see Pat Spencer pushing the pace, changing the pace. The turnovers stopped. You got some real good minutes out of Post, Spencer, and Trace Jackson Davis. And to me, that started the Warriors on chipping into that lead and getting in that 11-0 run in the second quarter. Draymond hit a 3 to start the second, as he did the first, as he did the third. Quentin Post hit a 3. Bam, the 11-0 run is going. The Warriors get it to 32-31. Denver calls a timeout with 9:45 left. Then what happens? The roof falls on him. 21-3 run. Why'd that happen? They got back to the turnovers again, and the points off of those turnovers for Denver. So the theme was recurring, and none of it was good for the Warriors.
That is something that keeps coming up, is turnovers. The run that the Warriors had in the first half with the bench, you got to give a lot of bench mom! You got to give some credit to the bench. They came in. Pat Spencer came in. He was a big dog in that first half. He was taking care of the ball. He was rebounding the basketball, pushing the pace. QP was sliding them puppies. I saw him out there on the defensive front and hitting threes. I love the pace when it's like that. When you're going against the Denver Nuggets, this is the second highest scoring team in the NBA. You can't give them extra points. And that's what the Warriors were doing in that stretch, taking care of the basketball. It's like you're going without Steph. You're trying to fight without your dominant hand. Yeah. So you kind of have to figure out a way to block and, punch with your weak hand. And I feel like the Warriors were trying to tickle them with their weekend. It was whatever they were doing was not effective. All right, it just wasn't what they were supposed to do in that moment. And they weren't taking care of the basketball. You're kind of giving them. You're actually punching yourself.
I was like, just raise the tickling. Huh? Go ahead.
But Quentin Post, he was aggressive. Pat Spencer, he was aggressive. Trace Jackson Davis, they were being aggressive. But juxtapose that with how we didn't see enough aggression from Kuminga and Moody and Podziemski tonight. Something else we were talking about while watching the game, how the Warriors just didn't want to go to the basket. Ooh. How they just seemed like they just did not want to get into the paint. But who did we see getting into the paint? Pat Spencer was getting into the paint, pushing the pace. So, it's hard enough to win without Steph. It's always hard to win on the road. It's hard to beat a team as good as the Nuggets. But when everybody is not on that aggressive tip, as Draymond was, as you had some of the other guys, when everybody's not on that, it's going to be difficult.
Let me double down on that, all right? The first 5 minutes of the game, all right? So you got to watch, like I said, I keep thinking about it like a fight. You're thinking you're going against this heavyweight in the Denver Nuggets. You have one of the best players, if not the best player in the NBA, in Nikola Jokic. You have to be the aggressor to start. And this is defensively and offensively. I thought the Warriors offensively, they took a step back.
Yep.
They did not. The best shot you got in the first 5 minutes of the game was a Jonathan Kuminga elbow jumper. That was the closest shot to the basket that the Warriors got. On the other end, they got layup, transition. They got a three from Aaron Gordon. You got one from Christian Braun. This is what they were doing offensively on the other end. The Warriors, they were not putting any pressure on them. They felt like they were getting the ball out of the rim on the defensive end, the Warriors were, and then going to go play against their set defense, the Denver Nuggets, and they just could not get any offense going early in the game.
And you would think, and maybe it's easy for me to sit here saying this, at a desk 1,000 miles away, you would think that this would be the game where the Warriors, the young guys in particular, would go, well, let's just go out there. We get a free punch. We get a free swing. Let's see if we can be uber aggressive. And obviously you want to temper that and not have the turnovers. But let's see if we can be uber aggressive and take the fight to the Nuggets. And maybe that's a fight that they would not be expecting. To see the Warriors just, I think, kind of play into the Nuggets' hands, I thought that was strange to see.
It's funny. Okay, so size is a big problem. I think when you're going against the Nuggets team, you could see Aaron Gordon ducking in the middle of the paint, getting shots in the paint. You could see Nikola Jokic just really looking over the defenders and just dicing the Warriors and tearing them apart. You could see, you could go back to fast break points, but these are the things. In the half court, Denver was more efficient, and the Warriors just kept taking and settling for jump shots.
Just a few notes about Jokic, too, running into that buzzsaw. He came in with 5 triple-doubles out of 7 games. Didn't quite get to a triple-double tonight because he sat the entire fourth quarter. So in 28 minutes, 26, 9, and 9. But what he did early, 4 assists by the first time out in the first quarter. Here's a guy who dictates the offense, and the Warriors, like so many teams, just had trouble with Nikola Jokic.
I mean, he was the engine for that 12-0 run to start the game, and now that the entire game is over, we'd say it was basically game over from that point. Once he got going, once he got dominant, once he got everybody involved, he lit Jamal Murray's fuse. Once Jokic just took care of everything in the first quarter, then Jamal Murray was emboldened, and then he took over. He's a hell of a basketball player that is not borderline unstoppable. He's unstoppable. Where do you make him uncomfortable on the court? What situation on the court makes him uncomfortable? None.
The only way you can distract him is putting a pony on the court.
But that would distract everybody, though, wouldn't it?
Yes, he's that's it. That's his first thought.
I mean, Nikola Jokic, he's everything that's advertised. He is an incredible scorer in the paint. He can score on the block. He can score at the free throw line. He can score at the three-point line, and that keeps you on your toes. So when you're guarding him, you're staying up on him. And then he's also an incredible passer, probably the best passer in the NBA, the leading assist man in the NBA is a center. I hope you guys understand this. When you say the centers are going out of style, I hope y'all understand that the best passer in the league right now is a center. And with that, that's how the offense runs. He assisted 10 of 12 of the first field goals in the game. He set the tone. Yeah. This is what he does. He gets the team going, and from there, it just was really hard to stop because the offense was already flowing.
There was one sequence where Jokic got the defensive rebound, started the break, pushed the ball, pushed it ahead, rebounded the missed shot, got the offensive rebound, and then put it back for a bucket. That's the Nikola Jokic experience, all in one trip down the court.
And that's something Draymond Green had to contend with on defense tonight. But you know that he relishes these types of matchups. And Draymond, who missed the last game out with a rib contusion, ready to play in this one too. But Draymond can't do everything, even though he tried, especially from 3.
Yeah, he tried. To start the game, Draymond was trying to be a facilitator. He was really trying to force and create shots. This play right here was the start to that run that we talked about in the first quarter. When the bench came in, Draymond was that guy. He's that connector from the starters to the bench. He's been that all season long. He was that last year with a lot of the young guys, and that's what he continues to be. Tonight, they didn't have a lot of scoring, so JJ said, okay, I've been playing with and watching Steph Curry for a long time. I know how this is done from the three-point line. Let me show you. All right.
And then he was talking heavy to the Nuggets bench.
That's what he does. That's what Day does.
Talking mad heavy after hitting those threes.
All right, we were looking at Jimmy Butler in this game as well. Missed the last game with a lower back soreness. He was questionable coming in, kind of a game-time decision. The Warriors need him to organize. Jimmy playing a game without any turnovers here. What were you looking at, Festus, as far as Jimmy's impact on this game?
I was looking to see how aggressive Jimmy was going to be. This is a crazy shot in transition. That's a lot. And on the kick ahead, Jimmy just wasn't moving like Jimmy.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen him, even the last game that he played in, missed a lot of bunnies at the rim. A torn up back will do that to you. You know, you don't know how much pain Jimmy is in because he never complains. Like, you've seen him on the court. You never see Jimmy get mad at the refs for a call. You never see him complain about pain or anything. He always comes out there on the floor. And to see him right now not trying to be aggressive, that means that there is some pain and some discomfort that he's dealing with. I thought Jimmy still tried to find a way to get this thing going. One of the first buckets of the game was his N1. At least the best shot that the Warriors got to start the game was his N1 in the paint. That's what you need from Jimmy. You need him to get to the free throw line. You need him to create shots for other guys. And you need him to have that pop and that athleticism, which could be limited if he has a back injury.
And listen, he did get to the free throw line. He was 6 of 7. You know, he did get the ball, distribute the ball. He had 3 assists, and he had 3 rebounds for those 16 points. He knew he had to play because of the injuries, obviously, to Steph and then Al Horford being a game-time decision and being a scratch. Jimmy Butler knew he had to go out there and, along with Draymond, try to lead these young guys by example and also with their play to see if they would get on Jimmy's ailing back and if he would be able to sort of shepherd them to be as aggressive as he and Draymond were trying to be. Just didn't work out that way.
A slow start for all the starters, but we should spotlight a little bit J.K. and Moses Moody tonight as well. 6 points for J.K., 2 for Moses Moody. Now, for Moody, I do want to mention he was on the injury report with a sore back himself. And when he had 24 against the Suns and 28 against the Kings and then a tough night here, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt as Moody arrived at 1 for 9 and 2 points. But did you find there could be off games, but did you find, Rod, that they were playing with effort or making the right decisions on the shots they were taking?
I mean, the effort was definitely there. We were just talking about Kuminga in particular. It seemed like he was just doing just a little bit too much thinking about what was going on instead of reacting, instead of being aggressive, instead of going to the basket with some force, with some aggression. He seemed to be caught betwixt and between. And we saw that in the fourth quarter of the game against Sacramento a couple of nights ago. So, no, effort to me wasn't the problem.